What's up, people? So I was overdue to do this video. I just didn't have the time. Got a little time right now. Really feeling sleepy, but let me try and answer Intangible Boxing. Intangible Boxing did a list with I think it was Muhammad Ali and Henry Armstrong, talking about how Mayweather's not TBE, he's not better than Muhammad Ali, he's not better than Henry Armstrong. Then what he did was he put a clause in there that he said we can't talk about skills. So I find that really ridiculous. You can't do that. You can't do that you can't do that as a fight fan if you're gonna rate who's better. If you're talking better, it's kind of like pound for pound. Who's the better fighter? So you're saying, hey, this guy and this guy, who's the better fighter? So that usually the way how you settle that is by getting them matched up in the ring, right? Especially in a particular division. Now we're looking at guys in different divisions. I mean, Henry Armstrong shared a division with Floyd. He shared two divisions actually, lightweight and also welterweight with Floyd. But with the case of Muhammad Ali, he didn't share divisions at all. Okay, so what Intangible did, which I'm not going to really, I might address it a little bit. What Intangible did, I'm going to just do it off the fly because I really didn't have time to research this stuff on anything. I wanted to do some homework on it, and I wanted to give a comprehensive video where I show intangible stuff because talking it, showing people is better than talking. I'm just gonna talk through this. So first of all, intangible, you can't do that. You can't just I gotta lie down on the ground because I'm tired. You can't negate the skills of a fighter. That's the first thing, buddy. You can't do that. You just can't. You have to look at the skills. That's what you're doing when you're watching a boxing fight. So you can't negate skills. Okay? And there's a couple things you got to realize. Now, Henry Armstrong, Muhammad Ali, and Floyd Mayweather were all defensive fighters. The interesting thing about it is Henry Armstrong was mostly exclusively an inside fighter, whereas Muhammad Ali was exclusively an out boxer. But when you look at Floyd Mayweather, like Sugar Ray Robinson, like Sugar Ray Leonard, he could do it all. He could fight on the inside, he could fight on the outside, and he could fight at mid-range. He could fight going back, he could fight going forward, and he had a number of different guards and defenses. That in and of itself puts Mayweather in a position. And remember, not just these are not just skills. Ooh, I just get to relax a little bit here. These are not just skills, my friend. These are honed skills. And these are not just honed skills. This is a guy with a high boxing IQ who knows how to utilize each and every one of these. So if you ask me, is Sugar Ray Leonard a better boxer than, say, for example, Henry Armstrong? I would say yes. Why? Because if Henry Armstrong is a guy that does his best work on the inside, then Sugar Ray Leonard has to keep him on the outside so that he can't do his best work. You take away his inside game. That's easier said than done, but nonetheless, Sugar Ray Leonard would have that option because of skills. Okay? Similarly, Sugar Ray Robinson versus Henry Armstrong. Why Sugar Ray Robinson was able to beat Henry Armstrong because Sugar Ray Robinson could outbox Henry Armstrong. He fought him on the outside. Henry couldn't get to the inside like he wanted to. He was pretty good at getting to the inside. He bobbed and weaved and slipped and slid and so on. But he still couldn't fight his fight. And even if he did get to the inside, Sugar Ray Robinson was competent on the inside to be able to deal with him if he got to the inside, like Floyd and Sugar Ray Leonard and Pernell Whitaker would be able to do. These are very important things to understand. Okay, so if you're going to talk about boxing, you have to talk about skill. Muhammad Ali was exclusively an outboxer. Once you got to the inside of Muhammad Ali, he would clinch you up. So, given that Floyd and Muhammad Ali were the same size, Floyd would beat Muhammad Ali mainly because Muhammad Ali exclusively fought on the outside. Which means if Floyd got to the inside of Muhammad Ali, which he would do, then he could start to win the fight that way. Another, just adding in a third element here, which is Henry Armstrong. Henry Armstrong was an inside fighter. What would happen if Muhammad Ali faced Henry Armstrong? That's a good question. Depending on who's better, Muhammad Ali would keep Henry Armstrong on the outside of him. Mainly because Muhammad Ali would never let Henry Armstrong set. He constantly is in perpetual movement. So if you ask me who's the guy that would actually win that fight, I would say Muhammad Ali would beat Henry Armstrong. Even though if Henry Armstrong could get to the inside, Muhammad Ali would not be able to do anything with him. Unlike Mayweather, Leonard, and Ray Robinson. Okay, now that we got that out of the way. So when we're talking about skills, these guys prove their skills because they faced the highest level of competition and were able to overcome them. Okay, Sugar Ray Leonard dealt with Roberto Duran, allegedly one of the greatest lightweights of all time. And if he could handle Roberto Duran like that, he probably could have handled Henry Armstrong. Maybe not. We don't know for sure. But skills are very important when you're thinking of matching up fighters. Now, the argument that some of you guys make is guys with lesser skills beat guys with better skills. That does happen. But usually, when it does happen, the guy with the greatest skills either is not well conditioned. I think of Buddy McGirt versus Mildred Taylor as an example. He's not as well conditioned as Mildred Taylor was, so he was able to overpower him. Or the fighter has more skills, but they're not as honed as the other guy who's honing his skills in his craft and does his craft very well. Also, the other fighter doesn't know how to make the right decisions in the fight to negate or neutralize the other opponent. So these are some of the points that you can look at. And why I talk about this over and over, and skills are important, even though many other things are important, not just skills, is because when you look at Mayweather's career, he only had difficulty with a handful of fighters. Okay? Emmanuel Augustus, Jose Luis Castillo, Marcos Maidana, Miguel Cotto. A handful of fighters. Okay? And even when he had the difficulties with them, he was able to overcome them. When you look at Henry Armstrong, he exclusively had one style. You will never see Henry Armstrong fighting off the back foot, boxing on the outside. He had one style, okay? Which means he had a certain set of skills to facilitate that. All right? Muhammad Ali had one style. You was not going to see Muhammad Ali fighting on the inside. It's never going to happen. Okay? Sugar Ray Robinson was a much more well-rounded fighter than Muhammad Ali. His skills were a lot more at-home skills than Muhammad Ali. Sugar Ray Leonard just recently said that. So, who was better has to do with who you think would beat the other guy if they would have faced each other. That's how you get better or best. Greatest is a totally different story. Pound for pound is kind of like similar to who's the best. It's not the same thing, but so having said that, let's look at the level of competition these guys faced. So you started talking about some of the fighters that Muhammad Ali faced. And you said he faced 30 fighters on the Ring's pound for pound list. Top 10 list. That might be so. But there's some names on that list. And I'll mention one particularly that you should really check out. Joe Bugner. He faced Joe Bugner twice, you said. I'm just going off the fly here. There's a couple others who weren't that great. In fact, in an interview, Muhammad Ali was trying to make excuses why he should face Joe Bugner. Because the public wasn't buying into that fight at all. Why is it telling me to rotate the device? Okay? And so, Joe Bugner is nested as a top 10 heavyweight, but at the time Ali faced him, but I'm going to be honest with you. He wasn't that good. At least at the time, people was like, why are you facing this dude? They wanted him to face somebody better. So, you including Joe Bugner on that list is kind of interesting. But what I would say to you is this. Oscar Benavidez. Shit, I'm mixing up with David Benavides. The Argentinian dude. He was legit. I watched footage on him. Legit fighter. Sick. That's why I told you you need to go watch these fighters before you talk about anything. It's cool to talk facts and stuff, but you need to also watch them. I always tell people try and watch the fighters first before you talk about things, because sometimes people be praising these dudes because they face Muhammad Ali, but ain't all that. And then again, Leon Spinks. We shouldn't even be talking about Leon Spinks. Leon Spinks' greatest accomplishment was facing Muhammad Ali. He fizzed out after that. He had one win against Muhammad Ali. Everybody else beat his ass. So we shouldn't be talking about Leon Spinks, to be honest with you. I'm just being reasonable. Like, it's like the overachiever. Like, even Victor Ortiz did a lot more than Leon Spinks. You know what I mean? It's just what it is. I mean, we don't even talk about Victor Ortiz like that, or Robert Guerrero. We don't mention those dudes. So how do we really rate these guys? You got to look at the names that they beat, the top guys. You know, you mentioned the guy that was two guys, Jimmy Young, and Jimmy Young was a good fighter, period. And the other Jimmy, they were good fighters. And you got a bunch of other guys who were good fighters. Okay, um, not knocking at Muhammad Ali's record. You know, Ken Norton was a solid fighter. All right, was a solid fighter. He had little tricks up his sleeve, you know. Now, what I do is I look at the types of fighters, and that's why I said styles make fights, and you have to look at styles. You have to look at styles. You must look at styles, and styles are based on skills, so styles make fights. That's why Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua, we are picking Ruiz to win because styles make fights. So if you're gonna judge people, you gotta judge them based off of what they do in the ring. It's not. That's why I said me just talking about boxing with you, it doesn't legitimize what I'm saying, even though I'm talking off the fly right now. It's not going to legitimize what I say, because unless you see what I'm telling you, you will believe me. You're not going to believe me if you're not seeing it with your two eyes. And why it's important for you to see with your two eyes, because boxing is a doing sport. So I could be talking right now, and you don't believe shit that I'm saying. You'd be like, shit, that's what you say. We need to fact check that, and blah, 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 blah. Which makes sense. I mean, I understand. I'm just talking. So, and you thinking that the information is coming from me. So I get it. All right, let's get on with the rest of the stuff. So, the list is nice and long. You say 30 names, and Floyd had 28, whatever. But you're not looking at the number of fights. You have to look at the number of fights as well. How many fights did Ali have? How many fights did Floyd have? So even if Floyd had a certain number of names, it's in a certain number of fights. And this comes back to the question of quality versus quantity. All right? And I try to explain to people, but it don't make no difference. The guy who you really need to compare Floyd to is Sugar Ray Robinson. Sugar Ray Robinson is considered generally to be the best ever, or pound for pound number one fighter of all time. All right, Sugar Ray Robinson. That's the guy you really want to compare Floyd with. But if you want to talk about Muhammad Ali, fine. But you have to look at skills. You have to, especially at the top tier level. The best guys, generally in different eras, were generally guys who had a lot more options. They were generally the more skilled guys. Okay? And the guys who honed their skills, and the guys who were generally smart in the ring. So Sugar Ray Robinson was considered pound for pound number one in his era because he was one of the more skilled guys. Period. He had more options. So he could fight, he could brawl, he could bang, but he could also box. And he could box off the back foot or the front foot. You know, he could box at different ranges. Right? That ability, that flexibility, that versatility afforded him a lot of options. And that's why he won a lot of fights. So you have to talk about skill. You look at the greatest fighters of all time, and a lot of them are very skilled fighters. They may not be Muhammad Ali was one of the more skilled fighters of his time. Period. Okay? Did what he did, and he did it very well. But Muhammad Ali had a nemesis, Joe Frazier. Okay? Styles make fights. He had a nemesis called Joe Frazier. And Joe Frazier gave Muhammad Ali 3 tough life and death fights. Manny Pacquiao had a nemesis. His name was Juan Manuel Marquez. He gave Manny Pacquiao 4 life and death fights. He also had Eric Morales, and he also had Timothy Bradley. But those guys were not his nemesis. He had trilogies with those guys. Henry Armstrong had a nemesis. Right? But he generally beat that dude. Henry Armstrong was remarkable in the sense that he knocked out guys. Okay? And the guy who finally beat him, the guy's reputation for beating him, sorry, excuse me, he went on to be on the downswing a little bit after, but one of the great things about Henry Armstrong we need to talk about is his winning streak as a welterweight champion. He has the longest welterweight winning streak of all boxers in boxing. Okay? And we're not just talking about welterweight winning streak, but championship welterweight winning streak. I think he won 20-something, he defended the title 20-something times. It's remarkable. However, there were a lot of rematches and a lot of guys he knocked out that he went and fought again and knocked out. So there's a caveat to it. And most of the guys he faced were small welterweights. But having said that, Henry Armstrong did some phenomenal things in terms of accomplishments. And then the guys who he faced, phenomenal Hall of Famers right now and all-time greats. So you have to tip your hat to him for that. But in terms of Henry Armstrong versus Floyd Mayweather, and looking at the competition, and Henry Armstrong did have some life and death battles with guys, except for Reno Garcia. But then again, he would have life and death battles because he's an inside fighter. So there would always be a lot of action and a lot of stuff. But he did get a lot of advantages over other guys, broke them down to the body and then took them out. But he did have his little things with guys like Seferino Garcia. It was not, I mean, he had some other guys. I mean, he rematched a lot of guys. So especially later on in his career after he lost the championship, he fought a lot of different dudes, mostly in welterweight. Anyways, I digress. But he is known for, this is an incredible little fighter. Incredible. Henry Armstrong, I thought was the best welterweight of all time. Best welterweight of all time. Greatest welterweight of all time. Not necessarily the best. And his record is there to prove it. But coming back to Floyd. Floyd didn't really have a nemesis, per se. He was so comprehensive at beating his opponents, and if you rematch them, he comprehensively beat them again, that he never had a nemesis. He never had a challenge. He never had life and death battles. He had, with Emmanuel Burton, he had a life and death battle. There are a handful of them. I guess you could say Jose Luis Castillo was kind of a life and death battle. And Cotto was kind of a life and death battle. And then you had Marcus Maidana, which was a good one. That was toe to toe for sure. And that was a life and death battle. Well, it wasn't really life and death, but it was. It definitely went old school. It was street fighting and all kinds of shit going on in there. Marcus Maidana makes me chuckle all the time. He should be back soon. Anyway, Floyd didn't have that. And that just is a tribute to, again, just how superior he was to everybody of his era. And I think of, there are very few fighters that match that. The only fighter I can think of that could match something like that was Pernell Whitaker. Because everybody else, you got to talk about them in their prime. That's another point. Floyd outside of his prime, and outside of his prime started with, after the Arturo Gatti fight. Floyd outside of his prime did some incredible things which these other fighters did not do outside of their prime. Henry Armstrong outside of his prime was good, but he wasn't on top of the game. Sugar Ray Robinson outside of his prime was good, but he wasn't on top of the game. You know, he blip up on the top of the game and then blip back out. Okay. You look at anybody who is anybody from ages 34, 35 and onwards. All right. Nobody commanded the sport of boxing except for Floyd Mayweather. He's the only one to ever do that. Everybody else fizzled out after the age of 35. This is just facts. Okay? And Floyd, at the age of 35, 36, was facing guys like Canelo, then Marcus McDonough, then Manny Pacquiao. Okay? This is at the age of 35, 36, 37, 38. So 36, 37, 38, the man's at the end of his career, and he's still facing these top tier guys. And he may, at the age of 43, face Manny Pacquiao one more time. So kudos to him if he does that. Okay? If he beats Manny Pacquiao, it'd be an incredible thing. Shout out to Intangible Boxing. Intangible Boxing says Armstrong is better. Name one. Hold on. Name one may win better than Bonnie Russ. First of all, Canelo, brother. Bonnie Russ, do you know that Bonnie Russ was a junior welterweight world champion? Okay. Bonnie Russ actually beat what's the kid's name? I forgot his name right now because they went in a catchweight. Bonnie Russ was a small guy, like 142. You know, he was really a super welterweight, right? They had super welterweight back in the day. And Bonnie Russ was great. Don't get me wrong. But fucking Canelo's better than him. Canelo's better than Bonnie Russ. Period. Okay? That's one. There's Miguel Cotto. That's two. And then there's Oscar De La Hoya. That's three. We're talking Oscar De La Hoya went through 6 fucking divisions as a world champion. When you start thinking about and the who's who Oscar faced. I mean, come on, man. Are you serious? Who's better than Bonnie Russ? I'm doing this off the fly. I have done no research or homework. This is just popping off my mouth. Shane Mosley. I mean, come on now. You really serious? Or you just joking with me? Who's better than Bonnie Russ? But here's the thing. Here's the thing where fucking Henry Armstrong was badass. Okay? He might not have knocked out Barney Russ, but he knocked out everybody else after that. He was a badass. He break you down on the inside and he knock you out. And he was like 133 pounds when he's facing these dudes. Like he faced Barney Russ, I think he was 133, 135 pounds. Barney Russ was 142. That shit is crazy. This is the thing about Henry Armstrong that really amazed me, in my opinion. And that's that Henry Armstrong was so small. He was a small dude. I mean, he finally made it to welterweight status. And this man was beating ass. He was kicking ass. I don't mean aggressively kicking ass, you know. And that was, but he was so quick. I guess he was so quick. He's so small and so quick, you know. I mean, we could talk about the people, Baby Arizmendi. I mean, we could talk about them, you know, just incredible names. But the point was that they were guys that came up with him. Even Barney Russ was a smaller guy that actually came up. He won the super lightweight title, but I think he started off at lightweight or something like that. So, you know, but again, it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, he beat Barney Russ. But no, you can't, like, dude, it's so different because you're talking about Floyd came up from super featherweight, right? Henry Armstrong came up from featherweight. Floyd wasn't just but one weight class bigger than him. You understand what I'm saying? So when you think about what Floyd did, you know, it's crazy. But you see, today we just don't appreciate what these guys do. And Floyd did all of this in the twilight of his career. He's beaten guys like, you know, Canelo, Pacquiao. You know, he's beaten fucking Marcos McDonough. That's like a Jake LaMotta kind of, Roberto Duran kind of guy who's not as accurate. It's a little bit more reckless, a little bit more unorthodox. And this is an old ass man in Floyd fighting these dudes. And when you just look at his resume, it's after his fucking prime, he's got the resume. After his fucking prime, he's got the names. Henry Armstrong, after his prime, you know, he wasn't doing nothing. He was beating some guys, but he was getting his ass beat a lot. You know what I'm saying? And no disrespect to Henry Armstrong, but He was very effective with the style he had, but I don't see him beating Floyd. I see him bringing problems to Floyd, because he was a great fighter. But I don't see him beating Floyd. So I just don't understand how you can say he's better. And you're talking about his resume. Resume's cool. He showed that he could deal with a guy much bigger than him and handle him. Barney Ross was good, but he got his ass beat too. He got beat by the same dude that he beat to get the welterweight championship. But the dude was weight drained. He said it. So they came back. He fought at a more comfortable weight. He beat Barney Ross. Then they put limits on him again, and he got his ass beat again. It was a split decision win over Barney Ross, though. But nonetheless, I can't remember the guy's name. But yeah, Barney Ross was a good fighter and accomplished and all of that. But again, you have to look at skills. You have to look at what's going on in the ring. You have to. You have to. You know what I mean? And again, you're looking at a guy. See, the problem with it is this. I see you making some points here, so let me address your points first. But I just want to finish my thought. My point, man, I would like to talk with you live on this, but I don't want to wait. I don't want to spend too much time on it. But the point of this is this: you look at guys way back in the day, right? I know people say boxing hasn't changed that much. It has. Okay, it has changed quite a lot. But I think the more important thing for people to understand, as I am very punch drunk sleepy, is that them guys way back in the day, yeah, they got the fundamentals down pat. I always say they are fundamentally sound. Okay? There's some skill sets that they would have had and people today don't have and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's hard for me to pick one of them guys from way back there. It's like Clarissa Shields versus Ann Wolfe. Ann Wolfe got a huge reputation. But she not beating Clarissa Shields. She's not beating Clarissa Shields. That's not happening. Not in a million years. And it has to do with Clarissa Shields' skills. Her style, yes, but her ability to do different things in the ring. And some of those things she does better than Ann Wolfe. So you have to look at skills too. You do have to look at resume, but you also have to look at skills. Okay? So you asked me a question. Who's better than Barney Ross? And I mentioned several guys. And the reason I mentioned them is because, one, Barney Ross was a super lightweight welterweight world champion. Okay? These other guys are much more accomplished than that. But even so, Barney Ross faced a number of different names. But when you look at the guys that Floyd faced consistently who are bigger than him, we're talking about bigger than him, right? Like Henry Armstrong bigger than him, right? Except the weight difference is even larger because, they're bigger guys and stuff, or bigger weight classes. And these guys, what they go on to do after he kicks their ass, okay? After Floyd kicks their ass, they still go on to do some greater things, okay? Not just winning world championships, but beating people, right? Because names are important. You cannot just look at him, but Barney Ross is hands down better than these guys. You can't say that shit. You can't. You just can't. Who's better than Barney Ross from Henry Armstrong saying Manny Pacquiao? I blow Barney Ross's shit out of the water right there with Manny Pacquiao. And Floyd beat him when he was old. I mean, we could just go on and on and on with the names on Floyd Mayweather's list. It's not it ain't no fucking joke. They're not jokey names. Right? Now, I'm not saying that Henry Armstrong's name's a joke. Hell no. But I'm just saying, when you look at the stuff that Floyd did, it ain't no ordinary shit, man. So let's go to what you said. I'm done talking. Let's see what you got to say, because I want to get back to my points, but you're the guy that talked about it. So you said Barney Ross was on a 20-fight winning streak, beating Jimmy McLarnin. Jimmy McLarnin's the dude that was weight drained, though. Let's just remember that. Seferino Garcia, yeah, that same guy that Henry Armstrong beat. He was a Filipino boxer, good boxer. Ended up getting the Californian middleweight championship of the world. It wasn't really world recognized, but it's cool. Izzy Janassa was a good fighter. Freddie Click, I don't know nothing about him. Easily better than Oscar, who got killed by a hospital and only fight. No, fuck no. First of all, Ninja, you can't even say that shit. Oscar De La Hoya faced the following people. He faced Julio Cesar Chavez. All right? Arguably the greatest Mexican fighter of all time. So you can't say that shit. That's the first point. I haven't started with his resume. He faced Hector Camacho. You forgot that shit. You forget that shit. You just kind of conveniently forgetting shit, right? He faced Tito, Felix Trinidad. Yeah, he lost to him, but he faced him. He faced fucking Pernell Whitaker, ninja. Pernell Whitaker. Okay? Oscar then went up and he faced Fernando Vargas. At super welterweight, he faced Fernando. Man, I mean, come on now. Are you really serious? You really serious? I mean, Oscar De La Hoya faced the who's who of boxing, man. He lost to Bernard Hopkins, but that's at a weight class he not even belonging. He knew he wasn't no middleweight. I mean, you serious? You serious, bro? You're not serious, man. Oscar went through 3 of the original weight classes. Okay, he started off. He went through lightweight, didn't stay there too long. Then he went through welterweight. Then he went through middleweight. Okay, that's something that Henry Armstrong did. Okay, so you don't even try to compare Barney Ross to Oscar De La Hoya. It don't make no damn sense. Y'all can say what you want about Oscar, fights fixed and all that shit, and the Golden Boy and all that. He fought names. He took prisoners. Okay. He was not. He didn't take no prisoners. He chopped down trees. Okay. Ike Corte. Y'all must be forget. You forgot, man. You joking around. Then we got Manny Pacquiao. You telling me Barney Russ was more accomplished than Manny Pacquiao? You can't even say that shit. All right. I mean, if you're really being serious, but you're not being serious. You're talking about winning streaks and shit like that. You're talking about winning streaks. A 20-fight winning streak, right? A 20-fight winning streak. I don't know too much about that, but I can tell you this. Jimmy McClarnon was weight drained. Let's go there. I mean, it's a great accomplishment that Barney Russ was on a 20-fight winning streak, okay? But I'm going to tell you this, though. They fought more regularly, and some of the names you mentioned are good, but not all the names that he mentioned are good. That's why you only mentioned some of these guys. All right, so let's be real now. Pac only 3 fights before May got KO'd by Marquez. Was past his prime and beat only Bradley. Floyd was past his prime too, so you can't come with that. The point behind it is, you're talking about, okay, so Barney Russ came off a 20-fight winning streak, okay? Guess what? Carlos Valdemar came off of a 18-fight winning streak. What does that mean? Did Valdemar better than Pacquiao because of that? I mean, you gotta be, you gotta be serious, bro. Like, winning streaks are great. Don't get me wrong. But let's be real about this. Let's be real about it. You look at Pacquiao's entire resume. You look at his entire resume. Ain't no way Barney Russ even standing up to that shit. Okay? He's not. All right? Because that's like comparing Barney Russ to Henry Armstrong. That's the shit you be doing. And you ain't going to say that Barney Russ is better than Henry Armstrong. And not just because Henry Armstrong beat him, but because his resume just don't stand up to Henry Armstrong's resume. Pacquiao's resume don't stand up to Barney Russ's resume don't stand up to Pacquiao's resume. It just don't happen. It just doesn't happen. You know. So name a fighter that's better than Barney Russ. There's several of them. Okay? Whether they had winning streaks or not. Okay? The challenge, Barney Russ never went up to middleweight and faced nobody. He didn't even go up to super welterweight. Or he didn't go up to no middleweight and face nobody. He's not a multiple weight traveling kind of dude. Like that. So you can't be comparing Barney Russ. It just don't make no sense. You trying to talk about winning streak. Yeah, but who was the other people that he faced in that winning streak? So does it really matter? Right? And Seferino Garcia was a good fighter. But he did get beat by different people. Name guys. Jimmy McClarnon was a really good fighter. We all know this, right? But he was weight drained. That's why Barney Russ beat him twice. It's well documented. Izzy Janaza was, he accomplished something. He became a world champion. You know what I'm saying? But that was about it. You know. Or did he? Was it Izzy Janaza? I might be mixing him up with another guy. I don't know who Frankie Click is. All right, but what I'm saying to you is that Jimmy McLaren may be better than anyone on Floyd's breath. Man, get the dude. You gotta stop. You gotta stop that. Stop that. Stop that. Yeah, Jimmy McLaren beat the Ghetto Wizard. All right, it's a good fighter, great fighter, all that. Stop that. Just stop it. McLaren started at flyweight and beat every single world champion from flyweight. Just that 4 to 5 times the strap wasn't on the line. Yeah, I know. I know about Jimmy McLaren. You don't have to tell me about him. But no, he ain't better than anyone on Floyd's resume. He might be better than some people on Floyd's resume. He ain't better than Pacquiao. Fuck no. No, man. Come on, man. Man. Yeah, Jimmy McLaren was a beast. He was a good fighter. He's a good fighter. Manny Pac only became a partial alphabet champ. McLaren became... Man, shut up with that stupidness. He beat the man of the division. How many times? He's 5-time lineal world champion. Okay? So stop. Not slide 5. He fought 5 lineal world champions. Sorry, my bad. Okay, which means he fought the man of the division. Back in McLaren's time, the belts came together. So that's why he's undisputed. You gotta, man, come on, man. You gotta come with something better than that. Why the F are you laying on the floor? Because I'm tired, didn't you? You erased your thought. McLaren beat the undisputed champ, which means what? It don't mean shit. I told you that. Undisputed back then was because one guy had the belt. Okay? One guy had the belt. Now we got multiple guys having belts. So you got to look at the man of the division. All right, Pacquiao beat multiple guys. Jimmy McLaren was weight drained. Yes. Are you smoking or something? No, I'm not. Jimmy McLaren started flyweight. You absolute dude. When he was at welterweight, he talked to the people and he said, "Hey, man, look. He faced this guy 3 times. He said, "Look, man, I can't do this fight." So the second fight, he actually got a fight at 147. Baldamir's 18-fight winning streak contains Zab Judah and straight bumps. Okay, then. That's wrong. You calling Hall of Famer Arturo Gatti a bum? You calling Joshua Clottey a bum? You calling Sergio Martinez a bum? Oh, you forgot about that. Oh yeah. I'm sorry, my bad. Antonio Margarita faced Sergio Martinez. I guess they're all bums, right? The dude come from Argentina, boy. Them boys can fight in Argentina. So don't even start with that shit. They ain't bums in Argentina. So try again. The only person on Floyd's resume that even has an argument for better than Jimmy McLaren is Manny Pacquiao. And Juan Manuel Marquez. And Shane Mosley. And Oscar De La Hoya. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Are you shitting me? You're shitting bricks, bro. Oscar came up from super featherweight to middleweight. What part of that you don't understand? Won championships throughout all those divisions. Marcus came up from featherweight to welterweight. All right? Man, you must be tripping. Mosley came up from lightweight to super welterweight. You tripping, bro. Yeah, I know. Antonio Margarita, I corrected myself. Baldomir did, however, face a Gatti who was totally shot. Whatever. You counting Joe Bugner, so you count Joe Bugner on the greatest Muhammad Ali's resume. So what does it matter? Mosley better than McLaren all time. Love. Yeah, he's better than McLaren. That's right. Oh, he's on the same level. He's a multiple world champion. All right. Joe Buckner was rated. You defending Joe Buckner? I'm not defending Joe. If Joe Buckner's rated, Arturo Gatti, who's a Hall of Famer, got to be rated because he was world champion, WBC world champion, and all that shit. So, if you're gonna go with Joe Buckner, you better keep the same energy and go with Arturo Gatti. Don't be calling him no bum, and you don't want to call Joe Buckner a bum. Don't be doing that. Be consistent. Like I said before, and I'm gonna say it again. Okay, Jimmy McLaren was a hell of a fighter. Okay, he was weight drained. Okay, he was the welterweight world champion, and that guy beat him. What's his name? The guy you claiming, name somebody on the resume like Barney Ross. Barney Ross was a hell of a fighter. All right. The only person Shane beat was Oscar and Margarito. No, dumbass. You ever heard of Fernando Vargas? Have you ever heard of him? Have you heard of all the guys at lightweight that he beat? From Phillips, go up. Oh, you have a short memory again. See, you know how to list all the names from the guys from the past, but you forget all those names. You want to mention Joe Buckner in the equation, right? You remember Joe Buckner's name, but you don't remember all the people that Shane Mosley beat, right? Yes. Man, seriously, dude. Like, seriously. I put Vargas in there. No, you didn't. Yeah, so anyways, like I was saying before, we have to talk about skill. You can't leave out skill because that's the foundation of boxing. So when you're making your argument about lists, like you guys like lists. You guys love the lists. Y'all don't want to talk about the fights, but y'all like lists. You got to go and check that shit out. You got to go and check the fights out. All right? You look at so I was going back to Muhammad Ali because you're talking about Henry Armstrong, and he was a hell of a fighter. Henry Armstrong was, like I said before, I think in terms of welterweights and his career as a welterweight, I think he's the best. He's not the best, the greatest welterweight of all time. All right, he ain't the best welterweight, obviously. All right, but when you look at guys like Pernell Whitaker, when you look at guys like Pernell Whitaker, in my opinion, could be one of the greatest lightweights of all time because his lightweight resume, again, it's not based on quantity. Henry Armstrong, again, we looking at quantity kind of like, but he still faced some good fighters, right? Hall of Famers, that kind of thing. That's what I mean. But when you're looking at quality, then shit, Pernell Whitaker's lightweight career was crazy. It's crazy. Okay. But like I said before, when you're looking at guys like Muhammad Ali and Floyd, and you're comparing, even if you're comparing the records and careers, you got to look at how many fights they had, first of all, when you're looking at the notable names you're talking about, because you got to put it in context, right? If he had 50-something fights, I think Ali had 60-something fights or 50-something fights, something like that, because I'm just going off the top of my head. Then Mayweather, having just 50 fights, did quite a lot. If he has 28 names and 50 fights, whereas Muhammad Ali has in whatever amount of fights he has it in. When you look at the ratio, it's not. It's either less or more, whatever. You got to come down now to skills. When you look at a resume, the resumes, they're not equivalent, but let's just say they are kind of equivalent. All right? Again, you have to look at the fighters themselves, not just their records, but you got to look also at the fights. Then that will tell you something about equivalency, like styles make fights, so you can look at it like that. But after you've looked at the fights, look at the kind of caliber of opposition, and you're looking at it in their time, because you can't really judge it on our time, because if you judge it on our time, some of them guys get their ass beat by it, right? Just because, again, of what, I think I was listening to a debate with you and some other guy, and he was saying the same thing. Some of these guys was, skill-wise, there were certain things they just didn't do, and it wasn't crisp like that, and it's true. And you have to look at skill. You have to look at skill. So And the reason is when people talk about these hypothetical things like Sugar Ray Leonard and Floyd Mayweather, for example, Roger Mayweather was answering and saying, well, what do you think? Do you think your nephew was a better fighter than Sugar Ray Leonard? You say, well, first of all, skill-wise, Floyd was a better defensive fighter than Sugar Ray Leonard. You have to talk about these things because you have to see if you're looking at the fighters, if you're looking at their records and resume, remember, what you do to look at a fighter to see who's the best, you're looking at their performance in the ring, but you're also looking at their level of competition. The reason why we look at level of competition is because as the competition gets higher and higher and higher, we will see how honed these guys' skills are and how smart these fighters are, or how their ring IQ is to implement these skills. So that's why we look at level of competition, and that's why we look at then their ring IQ, their skills, and whatever they did in the ring, their performance in the ring. So those are the two criteria you look at. So when you're looking at Floyd Mayweather, you got to look at both his ring IQ, how he implements his skills, whatever, his performance in the ring. And you also have to look at his level of competition. You put those two things together because what you're trying to look at and evaluate is this guy better than that guy? Because we're never going to match them up. All right? That's how we get the best ever. It's about, is this guy a better boxer than that guy? Is this guy a better boxer than that guy? That's the question you're constantly asking yourself. Pound for pound says this. Pound for pound says, if we are the same size, pound for pound, this guy beats that guy. Most of the time. Right? That's pound for pound. It's a little bit different to the best ever. The best ever is saying, is this guy a better boxer than that guy? We're not looking at if they're the same size necessarily. We're just looking at them as they are, where they are, with the competition they have. It's not exactly the same thing. Okay? But having said all of that, Floyd's a better boxer. Like Sugar Ray Robinson was a better all-around boxer than Muhammad Ali. Doesn't mean that he would beat Muhammad Ali every single time. And Muhammad Ali might have been quicker than him. See, there are different things. You have God gifting and you have skills, or talents and skills. And maybe Muhammad Ali was just faster than him. Maybe he would keep him at bay because he was quicker than him. Or maybe not. Right? Sugar Ray Robinson did get hit a bit. Ali's defense, especially in his prime, we like to call it in his prime, as peak performance, he used to be untouchable. All right? Even though we all know Doug Jones knocked him back in the ring and had a very competitive fight with him. And then, of course, Henry Cooper knocked him down and so on. But, because he did have flaws in his game. He had vulnerabilities in his game. That's why, we talk about Roy Jones Jr. We don't talk about him being the best ever because he had vulnerabilities in the game, which people eventually started exploiting. So when we talk about the best ever boxer or best ever fighter, we're talking about guys who seem to be able to beat everybody because of the lack of vulnerabilities in their game that was proven by the level of competition they face over time. Okay? That's why the best ever. Well, why else? But if you're talking about the greatest, or you're talking about the greatest especially, of course accomplishments mean something as well. Don't get me wrong. But when you're talking about the best ever, you're talking about a boxer who does not seem like they could be defeated. They almost look like they can't be defeated. They get the W however they do. They get the W. But they could be defeated. They can have losses and stuff, but it's just that they're very hard to beat. That's what it's saying. So that's why they're the best boxer. And you got a lot of names of boxers that you mentioned in Henry Armstrong, you mentioned Muhammad Ali, but they much better boxers than them that you're not talking about, And I keep on mentioning some of them. And I mention these guys because, again, you have to look at fucking styles. All right? Okay, this is a better way to look at it. Take all of Muhammad Ali's opponents and ask yourself, which one of them would beat a Floyd Mayweather? Would a young, strong Leon Spinks beat a Floyd Mayweather? 36, 37, 35 years old. These are the questions you ask yourself. Then you can flip it around and ask the other question for the other fighters. Now, it doesn't always work because there's triangular theory and all of that stuff and all of that. But the point is, it's a good way to put a barometer test on things. The guys are never going to face each other. So we're just looking at it hypothetically and how dominant they were in their eras and the kind of level of competition they face. This is why we look at it. Okay? So the conversation is this. You're making a conversation saying that, Henry Armstrong's competition was so much better than Floyd's, which is not true. Okay? It wasn't. Okay? And you just level-headed and you realize just how much accomplishments those guys I just talked about, which Floyd faced in the latter stages of his career. We're talking about Canelo Alvarez, Manny Pacquiao, Shane Mosley, Oscar De La Hoya. All right? Them names. Guatemala Marquez. There's 5 of them, right? He faced in the latter stages of his career. Okay? He was past his prime when he faced these guys. Okay? And he beat them. And most of them he beat comprehensively. All right? And so those guys are highly accomplished guys, I just mentioned. That's why they are Hall of Famers and they're all-time greats. All of them. Some of them stayed in the game a little too long, like Roy Jones Jr., but you can't take away what they accomplished before. So, and Miguel Cotto. I forgot Miguel Cotto. That's 7. So anyway, the point is, those particular names I just mentioned separate themselves from everybody else. Now, because they're of this era, you are looking down on them. All right? You're not really looking at what they bring to the table. You're not looking at the opposition they beat. You're not looking at those things. And yet, for some reason, you're scavenging together guys in Muhammad Ali's era, like Joe Bugner. You're scavenging together those guys, and you're raking them up into Muhammad Ali's resume. All right? Then you're elevating Barney Ross to levels that God knows is not. You're overinflating some of these guys just to make your argument against the present guys. And when you look at the present guys, they're much more accomplished than Barney Ross. It's just what it is. They're more accomplished. They're more accomplished than Barney Ross. They are. The guys I mentioned. Whether you're talking about fucking Marquez, or if you're talking about Pacquiao, we put Pacquiao in a separate division. He in his own class. Okay, Oscar too. Okay, those guys are in their own class. Okay, Shane Mosley's lesser of it. Shane Mosley's on the bottom end of the spectrum, below Marquez and all them. But he's the bottom of the barrel, right? But then you look at Cotto, you look at Marquez. Okay, you look at Canelo. All right, ridiculous what Canelo's doing. Okay, you can't nothing but. You don't talk about Maidana. We're not going to talk about Maidana. He don't belong in that category. We're not going to talk about, them other guys. But we're talking about those guys. And all of them Floyd faced outside of his prime. All right? Name me one guy who was able to do that. Nobody in the history of boxing was at the top of the boxing sport outside of their prime like Floyd Mayweather was. Nobody. Nobody. And you know this. And that alone makes him stand alone. That alone. And his level of opposition was as good as in any other era. And you know this. You know this. You can nitpick how much you want. That's fact. Okay? That's just a testimony to the guy, how good he was. And you can't eliminate skill. Come on, you can't do that. You can't eliminate skill. You know you lose your argument immediately when you eliminate skill. But you have to acknowledge skill. You have to. Because it's only by skill, things he was taught, not things that he innately knew. That's talent and gifting. It's what he was taught that was allowed him to have the options. He had to process it. He had to use his ring IQ to be able to bring those skills to the table. But at the end of the day, it was what he was taught that allowed him to be able to do what he did. And because he constantly worked at his craft, he was also crafty. Not just skill, but craft. Skill and craft. Okay? Right now, Canelo's ahead of the curve. He's way ahead of everybody else. I was just listening to Caleb Plant, and he was acknowledging Canelo's skills. And Caleb Plant saying, I only got 19 fights. Canelo got a lot of veteran skills and a lot of craft. He's acknowledging. He said one way or the other, I'm gonna beat Canelo. He know he can't beat Canelo, but I mean, at this point in time, you can hear him convincing himself about that. Okay, and he's supposed to think that way. But I'm saying all of this to say that Henry Armstrong was a hell of a fighter. Okay, hell of a fighter. Inside game. People talk about he was rough and rugged on the inside and dirty. No, 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 no. Henry Armstrong, yes, he was a little bit rough and rugged, but most of the time he was obeying the Marcus of Queensberry rules. That's not true, that he was rough and rugged and dirty. He was fighting on the inside, and he would get position on you. And because of his low center of gravity, the fact that he would push the shoulder into you, as you saw with Josh Taylor and those guys, change levels, push the shoulder into you, and work your body, getting into the little gaps and spaces. But the taller guys didn't know how to operate. They didn't know how to change levels with him, get below him. See? There's guys like Pernell Whitaker and Floyd Mayweather, they know how to do that shit because they also small guys like Henry Armstrong. Henry Armstrong's smaller than them, but they small guys too. Pacquiao, Marquez, they small guys, right? So Floyd did, and Pernell Whitaker did, and Pacquiao did, and Marquez did what Henry Armstrong do. They fighting bigger guys than them most of the time. Guys taller than them, bigger than them. All right? They implemented things a little bit different. Guys are weighing them. Okay? So, and of course, Manny Pacquiao equaled what Henry Armstrong did, right? He's original 4-divisional. Well, no, he's not original. He's still 3-divisional world champion. But he was going for his 4th. He would have had his 4th if, what's his name? Marco Antonio Barrera was a WBC champion. He would have been of the 4 original weight classes, he would have been 4-divisional world champion. All right, you guys like to talk about championship belts? Well, there you go. Okay? So I'm just saying that, I mean, Canelo has gone through 6 fucking divisions. Okay? 6 divisions. Of the original divisions, he's gone through 3 of them. He's gone through, he was at welterweight. He didn't win a world championship there, but he was at welterweight. Then he was at middleweight, where he won a championship. And then he just recently was at light heavyweight, and he won a championship there. Okay? 3 of the original divisions. Oscar De La Hoya has gone through also 3 of the original divisions. Lightweight, welterweight, and middleweight. Canelo's a little bigger than him. Okay? Pacquiao has gone through 4 of the original divisions. Flyweight, featherweight, lightweight, and welterweight. Alright? Like Henry Armstrong did. So there's no fucking way in hell Barney Ross did better than Pacquiao. There's just no way. Okay? Neither McLaren. Okay? So McLaren matches Pacquiao. But he didn't win as many titles as Pacquiao did. Pacquiao won 3 world titles in each of those divisions. Each of those 4 divisions. No, it's 3. 3 and 4. It's just crazy. So it's wrong that only person Shane beat was Oscar Margarito. Okay? Maybe you throw Vargas in there. Not only Vargas, he beat Mayorga, tough ass Mayorga, and he also beat a welterweight. He also beat Oscar. Oh, you said Oscar, right? Oh shit! He also beat Phillips. What the hell am I talking about? Phillips. He beat a bunch of people at lightweight too. I forgot about that. Class acts too. You gotta mention those guys. Looking up to see if McLaren was drained. Absolutely nothing. Straight fallacy. Never fought above welter. McLaren was drained. We had a whole discussion on that. He fought at a catch weight, for those of you who don't know. The first fight and the first fight and the third. Go up and read my comment. McLaren beat Pancho Villa. Good Filipino boxer. Bud Taylor. Yeah. Sammy Mandel, Al Singer. Young Corbett was a good fighter. Uh, Tony Canzoneri was a hell of a fighter. And Lou Ambrose. Yeah. I know. That's not as good as Mosley's resume, love. Yeah, but Mosley beat a number of people, man. Don't even go there. I don't have it at the tip of my finger, but ring IQ and skills are just your opinion. There's literally no metric existence that determines how good your ring IQ is or how good your skills are. Just straight up human perception. Yeah, so that's how you know somebody won a fight or didn't win a fight. Don't you score rounds? So if you can look at a guy who scores a lot of rounds and wins a lot of rounds, tell you something about his ring IQ, huh? What you think? And also you watch him, see what the guy's doing in there, and you know his technique and skills and what he's implementing, you can show people. That's why boxing is a showing sport. The facts are in the showing. If I can show you that this guy has good ring IQ because the decision making he's making, then that's where my facts lie. It's a seeing and doing sport. It's not a written sport. It's not a sport where you write stuff down. Even CompuBox is straight up human perception, which means what? All the facts, winning and losing a fight is by judge's perception. What are you really saying? You just said that he gets wins over what? You're not making no point, bro. Facts are facts. All the guys I named in McLaren's resume are champs, Hall of Famers. That don't mean shit, dude. Think about what I'm saying. Because once again, I don't think you're following me. All right? These guys, some of them were champs. Right? But they weren't champs for a very long time. They weren't. Pancho Villa was a great champion. Okay? At the lower weight classes. Okay? Young Corbett was a good champion. Tony Canzoneri was a bad motherfucker. And Lou Ambrose. But let's not get it twisted. Not all those guys he faced were world champions at the time he faced them. And when he faced them, some of those guys were not in their primes. Like you guys like to claim. Some of them was on the downslide. Right? So, I mean, and then some of them, oh shit. Fuck. I'm sorry about that, Intangible. My hand accidentally hit. I was trying to get this thing back up and it just, oh, I can still see these messages. Great. There you go. All right. All these guys I named in McLaren's resume are champs or Hall of Famers. Read my full comments before you talk on it. I did. McLaren's resumes are astronomically better than Mosley or Cotto. I wouldn't say that. I cannot believe you just said that. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. And I'm talking off the fly right now. I don't have Mosley and Cotto's. You know what? Let me bring up Shane Mosley's resume because sometimes you guys be tripping. You guys be tripping. Shane Mosley, the weakest of them all. Right? We all know that. But I'm going to bring up Shane Mosley's resume. And you see you guys talking about former world champions, former and future world champions. That's how y'all do shit. That's how you talk it. But if I were to do, okay, so here we are. I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to tell you all the names of so-called former world champions, future world champions Shane Mosley had. Because sometimes it gets ridiculous with this shit. Let's roll it all the way back. Cool. All right. Shane Mosley beat Philip Holliday. All right. That was the IBF World Lightweight Champion. He was a good, solid fighter. He beat John Molina. Don't even go there. Because John Molina, as we all know, just wait to do the rebuttal because there's that other timeout shit that just happened in about 5 minutes. John Molina beat Azuma Nelson. All right. He the second guy to beat Azuma Nelson. Okay. He then beat Jesse James Leah. Okay. He beat Golden Johnson. That's at lightweight. Then he beat Oscar De La Hoya. All right, he lost to Vernon Forrest. We don't know what happened with Raul Marquez, so we can't talk about that. It was a no contest. Beat Oscar De La Hoya again. Then he beat Fernando Vargas. Louis Collazo. If we're going to talk about world champions, we got to keep it there. Lost to Miguel Cotto. Beat Ricardo Mayorga and Antonio Margarito. All right? That's his career. All right? That's his career. Those are the guys who were former world champions and shit like that. When it comes to, who's the other guy? Miguel Cotto? Hold up. I'm going to pull up Miguel Cotto right now. Miguel Cotto. All right. He beat Cesar Bazan, who was a world champion. He beat Carlos Mausa when Carlos Mausa was undefeated, who became a future world champion, beating that kid from Guyana. He beat Randall Bailey, DeMarcus Corley. If you're going to talk about world champions, he beat Paulie Malignaggi, Carlos Quintana, Zab Judah, Shane Mosley, Antonio Margarito, Joshua Clottey. All these were world champions. Lost to Manny Pacquiao. Yuri Foreman, Ricardo Mayorga. Then he beat Sergio Martinez and Daniel Gill. All right? So, damn, Chauncey, what happened to all your messages? What happened was I accidentally hit the freaking... I accidentally hit the... what the fuck? Let me bring it up. Live chat. When I clicked live chat, the stuff came up. And then, I don't know what the hell I clicked. But, yeah, here it is. Actions. And then it says put user in fucking timeout. So, I accidentally hit that. It pisses me off. I really want him to engage him, but it is what it is, Boxing Monster. Hey, man, Boxing Monster, don't worry, man. We're going to get him back just now in a minute. We're going to get him back in about 5 minutes' time. It's taking a little while, though. It's an hour and something already. All right, so the point is that if you're going to be fair to these guys, if you want to be calling names like that and talking about Hall of Famers and all that shit, then you need to call the right people, because Mosley came up from lightweight, went to welterweight, and then super welterweight. Cotto came up from super lightweight, then to welterweight, then to super welterweight, then to middleweight. All right? We don't even want to talk about Oscar De La Hoya. Let me pull up Oscar De La Hoya's resume, because that shit is just crazy. Shane Mosley. There's Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya. Then we're going to go to Manny Pacquiao. Yeah, he did. He did. I mean, you just can't, I hear what you guys are saying and all that, but, I mean, all right. So, Oscar De La Hoya faced John Molina, all right? He also beat Rafael Ruelas, okay, who was, I think, super featherweight world champion. He beat Gennaro Hernandez, who was the man at super featherweight, Jesse James Leah, Julio Cesar Chavez, Pernell Whitaker, Hector Camacho, Ike Corte. He lost to Felix Trinidad and Shane Mosley. Arturo Gatti, Javier Castillejo, Fernando Vargas, Luis Ramon Campos. All of these are world champions. Felix Sturm, then he lost to Bernard Hopkins, beat Ricardo Mayorga, and lost to Floyd Mayweather. He beat Steve Forbes, who was another world champion. That's just how many world champions these motherfuckers beat. And some of these guys, excuse me. Some of these guys are ATGs, right? Or Hall of Famers. So he beat the following guys. Uh, he lost to Bernard Hopkins, lost to Shane Mosley. All right. So guys going in the Boxing Hall of Fame. Well, Arturo Gatti's already in the Boxing Hall of Fame. That's what it is, right? Julio Cesar Chavez, Hector Camacho, Pernell Whitaker. And he faced Julio Cesar Chavez twice. Gennaro Hernandez already in Boxing Hall of Fame. Uh, he lost to the other Hall of Famers. Hector Camacho, I said already. Yeah, he lost to the other Hall of Famers. He lost to Felix Trinidad. He lost to Shane Mosley. Yeah. He lost to Bernard Hopkins. All right. He lost to Manny Pacquiao. He lost to Floyd Mayweather. So the other Hall of Famers, but he faced all of those guys though. But the other Hall of Famers he lost to. All-time greats. It's still a hell of a resume, no matter what you say. And the fact that this ninja came up from friggin' super featherweight all the way up to middleweight is impressive as well. Right? Manny fucking Pacquiao. Pacquiao's resume is just ridiculous. Pacquiao's resume is ridiculous. He and Floyd be competing for shit. You can't talk about Hall of Famers yet because, not everybody's career is over. But it is what it is. So, first guy Manny Pacquiao beat was Chachai Sasakul, who was the dude. He had beat the Russian dude. He beat Leo Del Duaba. He faced Agapito Sanchez. He faced Jorge Esa Julio. All these guys are world champions I'm talking about. Marco Antonio Barrera. Juan Manuel Marquez. Eric Morales. He rematched some of these guys. David Diaz, another world champion. Oscar De La Hoya, Ricky Hatton, Miguel Cotto, Joseph Claudia, Antonio Margarito, Shane Mosley, Timothy Bradley, Brandon Rios, Sarjuri, Floyd Mayweather, he lost to. And he lost to Marquez. And then you got Jesse Vargas. He lost to Jeff Horn. That sucks. Adrian Broner, multiple world champion, and Keith Thurman. That's some ridiculous. This is just a ridiculous list of people, man. Talk about ridiculous career. Going through 10 weight classes. He went through 10 weight classes. What would that be the equivalent of? 10 fucking weight classes. He could have been a 5 original divisional world champion. This motherfucker went all the way up from flyweight. Actually, he started off below flyweight, right? He was a strawweight. Okay? That's why it's 10 divisions. So he started off at strawweight and went all the way up to super welterweight. That shit's never been heard of like that. We had some crazy ass shit, but like Sam Lanford went from lightweight all the way up to heavyweight. But and that was some crazy ass shit too. But the heavyweights were smaller. But still, yeah. So, I'm just saying, I don't know what my dude is. He should by now he should have come back. He should be able to talk. The dude started off hard because he came from the Olympics, so they matched him tough from the get-go. He was matched tough from the get-go. Miguel Angel Gonzalez. Yeah, I think Miguel Angel Gonzalez was a world champion. Wasn't he? Oh, wait, hold on. I might be mixing them up. Did I mention his name? He wasn't a world champion. Right? He wasn't a world champion. Or was he? Just manufactured. Hold on. Check it out. Oscar. think I Corte was the WBA champion. Miguel Angel Gonzalez. If we want to know. Actually, he was, I think, or not. Miguel Angel Gonzalez faced Corey Spinks at welterweight. Yeah. No. No, no, no. No. Oh, yeah, he was. He was the WBC lightweight world champion. Yep. Long reigning WBC world lightweight world champion. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 successful defenses of his lightweight title, and then he moved up to super lightweight. He was undefeated as a lightweight world champion. Yep, Miguel Angel Gonzalez. Yep. He fought to a draw against Julio Cesar Chavez. And he also faced Corey Spinks, Louis Collazo. Yeah. Miguel Angel Gonzalez. Anyways, my point anyway is this. That, you know, I feel people need to put things in context. All right. And of course you can say, oh, this guy faced a number of Hall of Famers. And some of those guys, again, guys that he mentioned, they're not bad names. They're great names. They're Hall of Famers. They're all-time greats. But at the same time, you're making it sound like, you know, this guy, man, he faced these great fighters. But then when you look at down when they're actually fighting, which is what I think the guy who was arguing was saying, some of the shit was just so, some of it was elementary and some of it wasn't. Right? Because these guys, like the taller fighters fighting a shorter fighter, they always come over the top. They're not really landing, they're not changing levels to face a shorter guy. So that they don't miss the shot and loop over the top. And then they're not jostling for position like they should. Some of these guys who were outboxers and stuff, they didn't really know how to infight properly. So there's all of these little things that's why I told him, you got to look at skills. You got to go watch the fights. It's great to talk about all these achievements of these guys, that he beat this guy and he beat that guy. Did you watch the fights? Do you know what these guys fight like? Do you know their style? Can you describe the style? Can you describe what has happening in the fights? These are important things too. That's why skills, styles make fights, and skills are important. If we're going to watch Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua, aren't we going to watch to see who gets the advantage, whose style is persisting because of the skill set that they have? I mean, this is something you got to do. So when he eliminates, oh, skills cannot be used for all-time greats. You got to look at a record and resume because we want to go by facts. I'm like, dude, skills is everything. Skills is what determines that this stuff happens, that they beat these guys. It's because they have these options, right? They have these skills. Now, he wants to argue that the best skills or the guy with the better skills doesn't always win the fight. That is true, but most of the time they do. Most of the time, the guy who has a greater array of skills, better home skills, wins the fight, right? And boxing's like school. You gotta learn acquire these skills. It's not something that you just. And if you know what you're doing and you know what you're seeing in front of you, you know what skills to use. Your boxing IQ, you know which skills to use because it's not just be about these skills. Adrian Broner is very skilled, but he don't know how to use his skills properly, so he lose. But if you know how to assess your situations and stuff, this is why we even have coaches and trainers. If skills don't mean shit, then we shouldn't have no coaches. We shouldn't have no trainers. You shouldn't have to go to school for boxing. You shouldn't have to be in the gym all the time working on your skills and honing them. No, just forget about that. There's no such thing as skills. Forget about skills. Because what, the guy beat the other guy, but will hard and all that. It don't work like that. All right? It don't work like that. And it's just common sense. I mean, for those people who know about boxing, it's common sense in my opinion, just my humble opinion, so the question always comes down, in my opinion, to if Henry Armstrong was in the same ring with Floyd Mayweather Jr., what would happen? Would he beat him or not? It'll come down to that. Who's better? You're talking better. We're not talking greater. Greater is a totally different story. I think Henry Armstrong is greater than Floyd Mayweather, right? But do I think he's better than Floyd Mayweather? No. No, I don't. Henry Armstrong had 100 or something fights. Mayweather had 50 fights. All right. Henry Armstrong beat guys, knocked them out cold. Went back and rematched them again, like how Deontay Wilder did in a fight that I didn't need to see and I didn't watch. I still haven't watched the entire fight with Ortiz versus Wilder. Why? He knocked him out once. He ain't a smart enough fighter. He figured him out. He gonna knock him out again. Not all the time that is true, but most of the time it is. If you're a smart fighter, it wasn't just a lucky punch or a chance or opportunity where you saw the guy lapse and then you took him out. And people don't give Wilder the credit he deserves as a boxer, in my opinion. Again, all based on skills. They say Wilder ain't got no skills. Yes, he does. He has good boxing skills, and I'm not just talking about setting up the knockout. They don't want to give Clarissa Shields her just due either. I was saying Oscar beat him. Yes, he did. He beat him. Ike Cortez was one of my favorite fighters. He was the WBA champion, wasn't he? Or the IBF. I can't remember which one. Beat Ike Cortez. And these were guys. Ike Cortez was. In fact, here's the other thing I like to do. But I know it's a different era and a different time. But Oscar faced the actual current world champions. Right? When they were world champions. He won his welterweight title from Pernell Whitaker. Right? That's who he won. He won a super lightweight title off of, I can't remember if it was Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., sorry. Excuse me. Oh, man, I'm so tired. Oh, wow, it's 10 o'clock in the night. I mean, you're trying to make a case for Muhammad Ali, but you can't. You can't. It's not just that he was susceptible to the left hook and the overhand right. It's that he's exclusively an outboxer. Exclusively, he only has one range. You can't be facing guys like Floyd, like Leonard, like Whitaker, and you just got one range. Lomachenko got one range. Pacquiao got one range. All they got to do is operate outside that range. They have the inside on you, they're the outside of you, and they take away your range from you. And they could do that because they got the skills to do it. Now, some guys, like Sugar Ray Leonard, he lost to Roberto Duran because he did not employ the right skills. He had the skills to beat Duran the first time, but he got conned into fighting Duran's fight. Right? So, it does have something to do with boxing IQ. I've seen Kevin Kelly. Kevin Kelly was a very good boxer. He could, but he just get conned into a fight and he started brawling. Stupid. That's how he lost fights. Then you talk about it was exciting though. I'm like, yeah, but you lost. And the objective not just to give an exciting fight, but to win? I guess not. Right? I haven't even talked about Juan Manuel Marquez's resume. And let's not forget, these guys also face guys. You know what I mean? Real guys. Much bigger than them. I'm just saying. And Henry Armstrong was a guy like that. He fight guys much bigger than him. At least for a good period of time. They didn't outweigh him by, double digits in weight, but they did outweigh him. Right. So there's many other points I want to make, but this video is way too long. The stream, and my boy hasn't come back. I don't know why. I thought I would see him come back, but this stupid thing. I'm gonna try and do another feed another time. We must do it on a live stream. We must live stream. That's what we need to do. Boxing Monster says 49. 49. 49-0? You mean Floyd? What's that about? 49 asterisk. I don't even know what that means. But just in my humble opinion, like I said before, I need to show you guys this. This is the only way. I can't really argue these points that I want to make without showing you them. Because you're going to say it's a matter of my opinion. Unless I break it down and show you Not just the skills, but the boxing IQ and how far ahead of the game this brother was. You're not gonna believe me. And something that Muhammad Ali would con Pretty Boy to fighting an Ali fight. You're not giving Ali enough credit for his mental skills. He had mental skills, but then again, you remember Floyd is like watching this dude growing up, right? So he was not gonna get. You're not gonna con a con artist, right? You're not gonna con a con artist. Ali wasn't gonna con Floyd. He wasn't. He wasn't gonna con him. That's Floyd's game too, right? Ali used to shit talk like crazy. So just imagine Floyd and Ali going at it. It would have been great. But at the end of the day, shit talking don't carry that far. Conor McGregor was a better shit talker than Floyd. Still whoop his ass, right? So I remember Floyd knows what outboxing is. So what Ali would have done is nothing that Floyd would have never seen, because that's what Floyd do. So Floyd would now be breaking him down, getting to the inside, and working him out. Ali was a strong guy. He wasn't going to go down. But he definitely wasn't going to point Floyd either. He wanted the reach advantage. Because he would have been long, right? This fight may have to happen at welterweight. So, I mean, you guys think of Ali, great. And that's good. I mean, it's cool. I understand. Right? But if Ali got beaten by anybody, and Ken Norton was a good fighter, he had Georgie Benton in his corner. He ain't no Floyd Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? He was not a Floyd Mayweather. We all know that because he got knocked out. He got slept. Okay? And his defense was the turtle shell defense. I'm telling y'all guys again, skills, because you need to understand certain things, because skills is important. He had the turtle shell defense. Archie Moore was the master of the turtle shell defense, but the way how Archie Moore did it was not how Kenny Norton did it. Archie Moore literally made it look like it was a Philly shell defense, and he would basically cup to the one side or cup to the other side, whereas Ken Norton would square up and then try and use the shell defense, which, I mean, the turtle shell defense don't work that way. So he could get caught with, he would get block the uppercuts and shit, but he still get caught with shots. But anyway, my point is, Ken Norton beat Ali. All right. Now, Ali got back the other two fights by close decision, but nonetheless, Ken Norton broke his jaw and all that shit. Ali got dropped, like I said before, by left hook was just his undoing every time. He got dropped by the English kid. Forgot his name right now. I talked about it already. And he got dropped by several fighters, actually. But the point is that Muhammad Ali, defense-wise, depended on his reflexes and avoiding punches more than blocking punches and, catching punches and stuff like that. Okay? And a good jab, a straight-on jab while he's jabbing. If you jab while Ali's jabbing, you can catch him straight in the face. Because his hands, he never truly had his hands in the right place. When he's throwing the jab, his hands are off to the side, so he can't parry off the punch. So you hit him straight. You hit him on the button with a jab when he's jabbing. So there are just these little flaws that he had in his game, And of course, he couldn't infight for shit. So that just harmed him a lot. That's why Larry Holmes was easy to pick him apart. He picked his ass apart. Because Larry Holmes, but besides being very good at the jab, better than Ali, he also mixed it up, the jab to the head and to the body. Work his combinations on the inside. So, I mean, here's what it is. And so, no, Ali's not a better boxer. Or should I say he's not a better all-around fighter than a lot of fighters. But the thing about Ali was, as Sugar Ray Leonard so eloquently put it, his impact around the world. He lifted the world. He inspired the world. That's what made him the greatest. Sugar Ray Leonard said he wasn't a better boxer than Sugar Ray Robinson. Sugar Ray Robinson had a better all-around game. Which is why Sugar Ray Leonard named himself after Sugar Ray Robinson. He wasn't a better boxer than Sugar Ray Leonard. It wasn't. I'm talking better. We're not talking greater. We're not even talking pound for pound. It's talking about better. So when he comes and he says Ali's a better boxer than Floyd, Sugar Ray Leonard wouldn't agree with you on that because Sugar Ray Leonard thought that Sugar Ray Robinson was a better all-around fighter than Ali was. All right? And Sugar Ray Leonard himself was a better boxer than Muhammad Ali was. Better. Not greater. So yeah, his resume, Ali's resume was good. It was good. Henry Armstrong had a much better resume, much stronger resume than Muhammad Ali in terms of facing opposition. But then he had his spread out over 100 and something fights, where Ali's much more compressed. You know, you look at Ali's resume. Let's just roll through it a little bit. Then we'll roll through Henry Armstrong's resume if you want. Muhammad Ali. What would be a good nickname for Virgil Ortiz? I don't know, man. It's the sniper. I don't know, man. He a bad boy though. Virgil Ortiz is a bad boy. What the hell? How would be spelled Muhammad Ali? Muhammad Ali, look at here. What the hell? Here it is. The greatest. His alias is the greatest. Muhammad Ali. Alright. Muhammad Ali had some great names, man. He had some great names. Henry Cooper was the guy that dropped his ass. Henry Cooper had problems with his eyes. The eyes used to get cut easy. Archie Moore. He faced Archie Moore in 1962. First of all, Archie Moore was a legendary light heavyweight, but he wasn't a great heavyweight. So I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there. He beat an old Archie Moore, who went on to fight a heavyweight for reasons unknown to me. Then he beat Sonny Liston. That was a great win. Sonny Liston was a terror. And he beat Floyd Patterson, who Sonny Liston had beaten. George Chuvalo had good defense. He wasn't the best in the world, but he was. Henry Cooper put his ass down. Carl Mildenberger, European fighter. Not really all that. Cleveland Williams was, they claimed he was legendary. I didn't find he was all that, but he used to put people down. He had a lot of power. Ernie Terrell was tall, lanky, supposedly fast. Zora Foley, good fighter. Jerry Quarry, good fighter. Oscar Bonavina, good fighter. Joe Frazier, legendary fighter. Jimmy Ellis, good fighter. Buster Mathis, Mac Foster, Joe Chuvalo, he faced him again. Jerry Quarry faced him again. Floyd Patterson, he faced him again. Bob Foster, overachiever. Great light heavyweight. Wasn't, he was just testing the waters at heavyweight. He's outboxing Ali's ass, though. Joe Frazier, again. George Foreman, legendary. Chuck Webner, Ron Lyle, heavy hitter. Joe Frazier, again. Jimmy Young again. So he had a lot of rematches. Ken Norton again. Alfredo Evangelista. I'm trying to remember if he was a good fighter or not. I can't remember. I remember researching him sometime. I can't remember. Leon Spinks shouldn't have lost to him. And Larry Holmes. Okay? Trevor Burbank got the advantage of beating the old ass Muhammad Ali. Okay? So that was his resume. The notable names are Larry Holmes, we lost to. Don't really like talking about Leon Spinks because if you look at Leon Spinks didn't do shit after beating Ali. I'm serious, man. He reminded me of Sean Porter for some reason. But so he beat Muhammad Ali, and after that, he beat some guy. He beat the guy called Alfredo Evangelista. Larry Holmes beat his ass. Some unknown guy beat his ass. He Dwight Muhammad Kweli, who was a cruiserweight, beat his ass. Some other unknown guys beat his ass. I mean, everybody was beating his ass. Tommy Morrison got a chance to beat his ass. That's another known name. I'm wondering if Kevin P. Porter is Kenny Porter's relation to Kenny Porter. I mean, he beat his ass. And he was a journeyman, 13-8-2. Shit. He did nothing after that. So he just got his ass beat by everybody. Okay, so I don't know why we talk about Leon Spinks like that, but it is what it is. I don't even know if he went into the Boxing Hall of Fame. But anywho, yeah, Ernie Schaefer's was a heavy hitter. Ken Norton. But Ernie Schaefer's got knocked out by who's the dude he got knocked out by? He had gotten knocked out several times, actually. He was a heavy hitter though. That boy could punch hard. Let's see. Schaefer's got knocked out by. Let me see. I'll tell you who he got knocked out by. Forget that dude. Jerry Quarry knocked his ass out. Yeah. And well, Ron Lyle used to hit hard. He was a hard hitter too, so he knocked him out too. Yup. Larry Holmes knocked his ass out. Larry Holmes was not this knockout artist. Some guy called Randall Cole. Some James Tillis. James Tillis knocked him out. No, sorry, my bad. Forget that. Yeah. Anyway, but he was Ernie Schaefer used to hit hard. That's what they talk. That's the legend of it. They say he was a hard hitter. So you have to mention Ernie Schaefer's. Yeah, but anyway, point is that's the names that Muhammad Ali faced, and these are great names. Some of them are great names. Some of them are good names, solid guys. You know. And the whole point behind it is what I'm trying to make us. Not all of them are Hall of Famers, right? Not all of them are all-time greats, but good fighters for the time. And it's unfortunate that the further removed you are from it, more guys get into the Boxing Hall of Fame. Like just recently there, Buddy McGirt got into Boxing Hall of Fame. Yeah, Hall of Famer. And rightfully so. He was super lightweight and welterweight world champion. So rightfully so. But the point is, you know, all these guys Muhammad Ali faced are quality heavyweights. The ones I mentioned, yes. Yes, absolutely. There were others that I just did not mention. And for reasons I will not mention them. All right, but those guys are quality guys. Ernie Schaefer's. Forget Leon Spinks. Don't talk about Leon Spinks. Larry Holmes, definitely. Ernie Schaefer's. Ken Norton. Yeah. I mean, you know, Jimmy Young there. Yeah. He beat, his claim to fame is the George Foreman win. Then you got Joe Frazier, who he faced multiple times. And now Bob Foster was not really a heavyweight. Okay, like I said, he was overachieving. So we don't really mention him, but we can mention him if we want, because he never really hang at heavyweight. He didn't really do much at heavyweight. I mean, he did. What can I say about Bob Foster? Let me show you. See, he did really good at light heavy. That was his thing. Okay. So he actually, I don't know how it happened, but he got an NABF heavyweight chance at Muhammad Ali. He jumped up to heavyweight to test the waters, got his ass knocked out. Did well though against Muhammad Ali, and then he went back down to light heavyweight. He was really just a light heavyweight trying out stuff. He wasn't like a Juan Manuel Marquez. Marquez actually campaigned at welterweight, right? But he didn't campaign at welterweight. He faced Floyd Patterson, was a good fighter, underrated. Even though he was susceptible to certain shots that knocked his ass out. Jerry Quarry was a good fighter. I think I said that already. Chevalla was a good fighter. Slow as fuck, but he had good defense. Joe Frazier was a good fighter. Zora Foley. I don't know too much about Zora Foley, so I want to talk about him. I'm only going to talk about the guys who I know more about. Ernie Terrell and Cleveland Williams. Yeah, their legacy was good, but I don't know. I feel like they were a bit overrated, but that's my opinion. I'll have to check it out. I might have to look at it again. Henry Cooper, again, good fighter, but his claim to fame was knocking down Muhammad Ali and giving him a good fight. All right, Sonny Liston was a legend, slow as fuck, but he was a legend. And then Archie Moore, who was not really that was not really his thing. Heavyweight was not really his thing. And then he was such an old ass man. He was old as shit. He won a world title at 39. He was old. They called him the old mongoose for a reason. He was old, man. It was the second last fight of his career when he faced Muhammad Ali. He was on the way out. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But hey, yeah, whatever. But he was a light heavyweight dude. He didn't really do much at heavyweight. He liked to hang out with the big boys. But he wasn't no big boy. Right. So that was Muhammad Ali's list. There's other names in there, but I don't mention them. Doug Jones gave him a good fight. You had names like Brian London, Carl Mildenberger. I heard this dude mentioning Carl Mildenberger. Carl Mildenberger ain't faced no. Let me show you. Let me show you guys who Carl Mildenberger. I want to show you guys who Carl Mildenberger faced, because y'all don't. This motherfucker from Germany. Jesus Christ. Anyway, these are the guys that Mildenberger faced. Okay. He faced a set of Eurobums. Let me see if we can find an actual name here. It's got to be a name somewhere. He got knocked out by a guy named Dick Richardson in the European heavyweight title. I hate to be calling them Eurobums, but I mean, his record was, he faced Zora Foley and he got a draw with Zora Foley. Zora Foley was not the strongest heavyweight out there. Not even anyway, never mind. All right. Let's see. Got knocked out by Muhammad Ali. He lost to Oscar Bonavena. Oscar Bonavena was the real truth. This is the dude I was talking about, the Argentinian fighter. I'm going to show you his resume. His resume is sick. All right, he got knocked out by Oscar Bonavena. He got knocked out by Henry Cooper. This dude, what's his name? Carl Mildenberger, like most German fighters, had padded resumes. A lot of European fighters faced other European fighters, okay? So you see him 53, 6-3. It sounds great. Sounds great. He ain't faced nobody. All right, he ain't beat nobody, And that's something I was trying to... It doesn't matter. I mean, it just don't matter. Yeah. So anyway, I've done my homework on this stuff. That's why I could talk about this. But see, the thing about it is, I want to show you guys the fights too. I can make this argument probably if I had a prepared thing. I can make this argument in like 2 or 3. All right. Anyway, Oscar Bonavena was the real deal. He was a real fucking deal. In fact, he sometimes didn't get breaks. Sometimes he fought fights where he won and they gave him a loss. This motherfucker was sick. He just had to go watch the fights though. So like his fight where he lost to Zora Foley, that's amazing really. I don't know if he lost to Zora Foley. That's the thing. There's a lot of. Anyway, he faced George Chuvalo. He beat George Chuvalo. He faced, of course, Mildenberg already. He lost to Jimmy Ellis. He come back and rematched Zora Foley. He beat his ass. He lost to Joe Frazier. Never got knocked out, by the way. Never got knocked out. Nobody ever stopped him. Lost to DQ. Muhammad Ali stopped him? Yeah, they say he stopped him. I can't really tell you because I think if I recall. Anyway, I'm gonna do my homework on it. I'll tell you. Floyd Patterson. He lost to Floyd Patterson. He lost to Ron Lyle. Ron Lyle did not knock him out. All right, but he was a good fighter, and there was some controversy with him. There was some controversy with him. I was watching one of the fights, I remember, where they say he lost, but he didn't lose. I don't know if it was the fight with Muhammad Ali or what. I can't remember. It was a southpaw. No, not sorry, my bad, not him. Anyway, yeah, he was a good fighter. He really was a good fighter. I'm trying to remember. It could have been that fight with Muhammad Ali. Yeah, he's a good fighter. Yep. And Brian London, I don't talk about him. So sometimes the ring ranks people high because of their record, and not so much because of who they faced. You know. Yeah. Anyway, I said enough right now. I really didn't want to talk this long, but I'm talking pretty long. It's 11 o'clock in the night. I will talk to you guys later about this. We'll continue this some other time. But I really wanted to address Intangible Boxing because I know I said I was going to respond to him, and I hadn't responded to him in a while. I really want to respond to you, but in a proper way. This is not the way, but, you know, I said, well, you know what, hell with it. I might probably not get around to this and responding to him. So it is what it is. Yeah, man, Intangible, trying to give you some pay respect to your video. You guys should check out Intangible's video on Henry Armstrong and Muhammad Ali being better fighters than Floyd Mayweather, based on the record and stuff. Check out Intangible's video. He really does bring down some facts and stuff. Shout out to Intangible on that. This was a response video to it that took a very long time to do. I should have really... But I'm tired, man. I'm tired. I need to get a rest. So, I'm going to catch you guys later. I got other things that I'll come out with and talk about. So, we will talk about those at a later time. But for now, Ninja need to go in his bed to sleep. I need to drink some water. Mouth's dry and all that. And get some rest. I'm going to catch y'all guys tomorrow. Intangible Boxing. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to your channel. If people haven't checked out Intangible Boxing, check out Intangible Boxing. He's a good channel. And I like the stuff that he puts on it. And also, shout out to Boxing Monster, who was chatting up a storm. Oh, Boxing Monster actually say a couple more things. All these guys, Muhammad Ali faced with quality heavyweights. It only takes one punch in that division. Yeah, it's true. They were quality guys, man. Do you think Ken Norton Sr. would beat Luis Ortiz? Ortiz is the second best name on Wilder's resume. That's a good question. I don't know. Has he ever handled southpaws? Has Ken Norton ever handled a southpaw? That's the question. It's a different game dealing with a southpaw. You know? I don't know. It's a good question. Great question. On that note, man, guys, peace to you guys. Deuces to everybody. I'm going to catch everybody later. Shout out to Boxing Monster. Shout out to the other people who like this video. I'm gonna try and... But if you guys haven't checked out my videos on Floyd Mayweather TBE, I have a playlist on Floyd Mayweather TBE, what the people inside the business say, what the people and blah 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 blah. So you can go and check that out, and we will talk more about this at another time. I've spent way too much time on this. Don't really like talking so much about Floyd anymore. I use him for references like technique and stuff, but I really don't like talking about it. I think he's yesterday's news, to be honest with you. Great fighter. You know, awesome. Love what he did, but I think it's yesterday's news. We're talking now about relevant, current things. One day, people are gonna be saying, "Oh yeah, Floyd Mayweather is the best ever," and there's a better boxer out there than him. That's gonna happen. I promise you that, because boxing as a sport always evolves. And you see how people coming down on Canelo already. And just imagine, we got other breeds like Gervonta Davis, we got Devin Haney, we got Deontay Wilder, we got Lomachenko, we got Terrence Crawford, we got Errol Spence, we got a bunch of upcoming Kalen Plant. We got a bunch of upcoming guys who've seen Floyd fight, seen all the past greats fight. They got footage on them, and these guys are bringing to the table something else. So you know, some of these guys are gonna surpass what these guys before did. Expect that, because what? Let me hear you. Boxing is a sport. Evolves. I'm gonna catch y'all later. Peace.